I'll bring you a cupful.
I think we're about set here. How do you
Okay.
open? Are we ready to roll, Mac? He's having fun with the technology.
I'll bet he is.
Should be there. Okay. Ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, let's get started. Good morning to everyone who's online, who's here with us. Good morning. Thank you for being here today with us. Welcome to November. It's already November. I can't believe the months are starting to go by quickly. But election day is today. How exciting is that? So maybe that'll calm the airwaves now that all those ads are going back and forth. But just a couple of notes about the month of November. It's everyone's favorite holiday where you catch your turkey and cook it, of course. But it's also Native American Heritage Month. So to all the natives out there, your neighbors and friends and family, wish them a wonderful Native American Heritage Month if you can. Yes, so today is November 5th. It's our first commission meeting for the month. So welcome to everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order at 11:02 a.m. And if you don't know already, our time is turned back, right? So our time should match with Flagstaff, Arizona. In case you're planning a trip to Flagstaff, you don't need to change the time. But yeah, we are on daylight savings time now, so 11:03 a.m. Okay, we'll start with our next item, roll call. If you're here, you can say I'm here. If you're not, then just be quiet and don't say anything.
Don't say anything.
All right. Commissioner Stubbs.
Here?
Commissioner Adams.
I'm here in Salt Lake, and it's also No Shave November.
No shave November.
Perfect.
Hey, all right. Good to know. I won't shave. Commissioner Harvey, is he here today?
I think so. All day long.
All day long. Okay. That's a full quorum for today. Thank you, commissioners. Next item is going to be our invocation. I will be happy to give our invocation today. If you don't mind, we'll just quickly honor our Heavenly Father who has blessed us that we're here and has blessed us with many wonderful things, including the wonderful people in our county. So let's go ahead and bow our heads. Our dear Heavenly Father, we're so grateful for a new month, and we're grateful for the opportunity to have our new meeting this month as commissioners. Please, Heavenly Father, bless our leaders, bless Commissioner Adams in his travel, bless Commissioner Stubbs, myself, that we may continue to be inspired to make good decisions for our community and for the public. Help us to make good choices and good decisions that benefit the citizens in our county. Please also be with our county administrator. Help him not to be such a target. Help him to make good decisions, to be able to work with the department heads, that together they can work together, make plans accordingly, make goals to accomplish important services for the county, as well as making good policy decisions so that the services in our county may be strategically carried out so that all areas within the county may receive the services that are needed. Please bless our community members. Heavenly Father, bless them that they have plenty this month. Bless them to have the ability to ward against colds and against COVID so that they're healthy and happy. Please bless our veterans that they are safe, that their families are safe. Bless them that they're protected and also being strong wherever they may be stationed. And Heavenly Father, we pray for strength in our county, that we may find good things for our people, that we may be able to improve the services to all the citizens in our county. Help us to have a good upcoming budget. Help us to make good policy for our people. We're so grateful for our Heavenly Father, for our Savior. Thank you so much, Father, for the strength and wisdom that Thou give us. I say these things humbly in the holy and sacred name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. All right. Our next item is our Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would mind, we'll go ahead and stand and do our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, moving on with our agenda, conflict of interest disclosures for our elected leaders, commissioners. I'm sure you've reviewed the agenda items for today. Now is the time to declare any conflict of interest that you may or may not have.
I have none.
Commissioner Adams, no conflict.
I have none.
Commissioner Stubbs, no conflict. No conflict for myself. So I think as far as it goes, there's no conflict for any of the commissioners, for the record. Moving on to our public comment. I'll go ahead and defer to Mac.
Okay, so for our public comment, we will allow 3 minutes per public comment. It looks like we may only have one that's signed up. Marjorie, so Marjorie, it looks like you're the only one that signed up for the public comment, other than Rebecca signed in. And so we will give you 3 minutes, and then it will go to online. Anybody online wishing to make a public comment will be after Marjorie.
Okie doke. It's good to be here. Thank you, commissioners, and thank you, Administrator McDonald, for having me. I am here right now informally representing the EMS personnel in LaSalle. There's been a lot of misinformation, a lot of confusion, and some hurt feelings over the changes in the structure of the county EMS services. And I'll keep this short. My ask is for the county, Representative McDonald, possibly Crystal Break, and even you commissioners, to visit LaSalle and to have a public listening session and a public discussion for those who are very confused. And this impacts not just the EMS providers who live there, who at this point are feeling disenfranchised and a little bit confused, but also the community. As you know, we're very remote. I'm one of those people who's been injured a couple of times in the back country, and response time is crucial. And we do have the firehouses there in LaSalle. And so people are wondering why some of the services have been transferred to Grand County. So I think if we could discuss with the community the way that things are being restructured and how it will impact the providers as well as the people who live there and visit. and possibly reassure them that people will not die because of these changes, and that is a concern. So I would invite you to visit LaSalle when you get a chance. Thank you.
Thanks, Marjorie.
Okay, anyone else in the audience wishing to make a public comment? Okay, let's see, online, it looks like we only have two people, Commissioner Adams and our road supervisor. Commissioners, that today is your public comment period.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on with our agenda. Moving to the consent agenda items. You can go ahead and have
Okay.
you do that, Mac.
Here we go. We've got several items on consent, 6 items today. So number one is the approval of $57,308 in small purchases. You had $5,000 for the Utah Office of Tourism program, $2,850 for travel gossip campaign, then $2,415 for orchestra tourism, and $4,504 for guest guide publications for San Juan County Visitor Services. This is all in an effort that they ramp up our marketing campaigns for this year and next year. You have $20,000 for Type 2 road chips for the San Juan County Road Department. This was an opportunity that they found with an existing provider who had excess chips that they were selling for discount prices, and so we jumped on that. It's kind of a single source purchase of $20,000, which saves us money overall. Then you've got $22,539 for a planetary mixer for the sheriff's department. Our mixer in the kitchen had died, and to replace that mixer, just $22,000 for a heavy industrial mixer for the kitchen there. Number 2 is the approval of the October 15th, 2024 commission meeting minutes. Item number 3, approval of the check registers for October 12th through October 26th, 2024. Item number 4 is the approval of the interlocal agreement for e-cigarette, tobacco, and other drug prevention between San Juan County, the Hojo Lena 365 program with the Utah Navajo Health Systems. This is amendment number 1 to that agreement that you had approved last year. Item number 5, approval of the interlocal cooperation agreement for community-based e-cigarette, tobacco, and other drug prevention between San Juan County, Utah, and Drug Safe Utah Education. This again is an amendment number 1 to the contract you approved last year. Item number 6 is ratification of a letter of support for the U.S. Economic Development and Administration and the U.S. Department of Commerce fiscal year 2024 Build to Scale program to building a regional entrepreneurship ecosystem in southern Utah. This was a request from Southeastern Utah Association of Governments that is applying for this grant opportunity and needed a letter of support. That, commissioners, are your consent agenda items for today.
Okay, thank you, Mac. Commissioners, looks like we got 6 items under the consent agenda that was reviewed. How would you like to move?
I will make a motion that we approve the items in the consent agenda.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Stubbs to approve all 6 items as read.
I'll make a second to that, clarifying that I may be on the travel gossip campaign today.
Okay. Seconded by
You can
Commissioner
change it.
Adams.
We can change your name.
All right, any other comments or questions, commissioners, before we take a vote? The only comment is on item 4, the Hojogo Lina is actually Hojoina, meaning happy life, or so just strike the L and replace it with a capital I, and it'll be Hojoina, which means happy life, I think. Happy life, happy wife. All right, let's go ahead and vote. All those in favor to approve, aye.
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 La Pita Vida.
Okay, that's a unanimous vote to approve. Moving on to, looks like business and action items. Mac?
Okay, this first item, let me jump back to where we were. I was trying to see what you were seeing. So, item number 7. On here, let me get to it. So, this one here is kind of a twofold consideration and approval of the letter of support for the Southeastern Region Development Agency building up phase 2 project to improve energy efficiency. This is a grant request that they'll be applying for. Southeastern Utah is applying for. They also have a presentation on energy efficiency programs that they'd like to present to you today. And so we kind of have a presentation along with their approval of the letter of support that they're asking for this grant that they're applying for. So if you guys want to come up and just kind of introduce yourselves, I will pull up the PowerPoint presentation and make sure that everybody can see it as well. And then let me get you a mouse. That's always helpful. Let me see. Hold on just a second. Man, you're supposed to run this.
Good luck.
Okay, let me scroll through the slides on here. Here's your mouse.
One of these.
You guys are using
It will be.
the powerful hitters.
Thank you, Mag. Thank you, commissioners, for allowing us to be here today and present. My name is Louisa Averitt. I work with the Southeastern Regional Development Agency, also the local governments down there. I'm a grant writer, so I'm helping prepare this application for the program. I've brought along Chris Allred and Wesley Quinlog. They're the program managers for the project, and they're a lot more informed and learned about the subject. So they're going to give a short presentation to explain the project. So.
As Louisa said, my name is Chris Allred, and this is Wesley Quinlog. I came back in January, I believe, and presented to you guys the weatherization program. Since then, things have changed at CERTA. I'm no longer with weatherization. I'm still heavily involved, but Wesley is here to represent that end of it. And if you guys have any questions about the weatherization program, he will be more than happy to answer those questions also. But overall, so my presentation that I brought it's kind of it's partially what I presented earlier in the year. I brought some of the notes with me so that if there were questions, I could answer some of the things about the HEAT program. But what we'll be doing is actually fast forwarding to the weatherization stuff so that we can briefly go over that, and then that will incorporate into what we really want to focus on and present to you is our new program that we're working on right now. Also want to mention, Bruce, you saw us yesterday. I came down here to see you today, and now you're running away. So feeling a little offended here.
I'm sorry, but I did see you yesterday.
Yeah, you're excused. It's okay. I understand. So you just go into the weatherization a little bit.
Do you want to do the weatherization?
So weatherization has been around for a long time in all 4 counties that we serve. We try to focus very heavily on all 4 counties and try to be equitable about that. Weatherization always has a goal every month to come down to the San Juan area to make sure that they are being present in this area to be able to help people that really need it. Currently the client list is very high in San Juan County, and so it's a good area to focus on and make sure that we're hitting the production numbers that are expected also.
Currently, we are doing 50 units a year in all 4 of our counties. We work in Carbon, Emory, Grand, and San Juan. The majority of that is in San Juan County. How much do you want to go on weatherization?
Just go ahead and read this one.
I can't read it. I don't have my contacts in.
Oh,
sorry.
I'll read it then. The Weather Assistance Program is funded by the U.S. Department of Energy, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Rocky Mountain Power, and Dominion Energy. Weatherization is the use of building science principles and energy modeling to identify improvements to the thermal and pressure boundary of a home. Using this data in an energy modeling program provided by the federal government to produce a scope of work. Work is determined by calculating savings to investment ratio and a preset budget for each home. Just to kind of simplify that, what happens is that an energy auditor, after they identify that a home is qualified for the program, following DOE guidance, an energy auditor will come into the home and run what is called an energy audit. They will take data from each home. They will take that information back and put it into a computer program, which in turn makes a work order for the production technicians to be able to come down and spend their budget to improve and make more energy efficient all of the homes that they work on. The average goal is to get a 30% reduction in air sealing measures. And that should translate over into about a 30% reduction in energy bills. Now, I know in a lot of in this area that doesn't really equate over to too much, because you do have a lot of homes that are wood burning stoves and things like that aren't using a necessarily utility, but it's still saving you on wood. It's making coal and things like that last longer, making it easier to heat up the homes with less supplies. And so it's still the same basic principle altogether. If you want to go to the next one. So the weatherization program has a few things that it will and won't do. The won'ts are remodel or renovate the home, install storm doors or storm windows, paint interior or exterior, remove biohazards, biological, asbestos, and lead, replace entire roofs, replace all windows and or doors, replace cooling systems, and we rarely replace water heating systems. What we will do, though, is all of the things that would be related to energy efficiency into the home. So a lot of insulation, making sure our homes are up to code on that. Wall, ceiling insulation, floor insulation, things like that. One of the main focuses that they really work on right now is if there is ducting in the home, to air seal that and insulate those on more modern homes. They will attempt to air seal windows and doors and make sure that those things are not leaky points of the home to let air intrusion happen. There's a plethora of things, and if you're really interested in wanting to know what that is, I implore you to go to the state website for the weather assistance program. They will that gives you can look at the field guide, which is what all of the standards of work that each one of the technicians can do. It's a very thorough process that they go through to make sure that homes are done the exact same and to a high standard. Along with that, I guess that kind of leads me into what the program that we are trying to present to you is. So we were approached about a year and a half ago from members of the city of Moab. They had applied for a program that they qualified for, called the Buildings Up projects. It is an award program from DOE to help increase the energy efficiency of homes by using newer technologies. And I don't know if you're aware, on the internet, there's many articles of DOE right now. They're making a really big push for heat pump equipment. It's a very high energy efficiency technology. It works in a lot of areas throughout the country. It's very efficient, and it does a very good job of providing heating and cooling into homes, and also can provide water heating. So as the program was developed through some of the members and team from Moab, me and Wesley were approached as weatherization leaders to be involved in this program, because part of the program, they need to be able to weatherize. Those are kind of the basic requirements, is that they need to be able to weatherize and then be able to install heat pump equipment into homes. As conversation went on, it was made very apparent that the AOG CERTA was a good home for developing this program beyond the first phase that this program had originally went through. This program right now is currently funded through 3 different phases. We're applying through a grant process for $400,000. It's not even a grant; it's actually an award. It's what it's actually called. And through that, we have already received that first phase award of $400,000. That was awarded to Wesley and CERTA, with the city of Moab also being involved with that funding. And then they handed over the leadership and the development of this program over to CERTA for us to continue to develop. So here we are. What we're trying to do with this program is to improve upon the weatherization program, the current weatherization program, to add bonus energy efficient model to be able to help expand what it is that they can do in Moab area right now. The scope and the impact is to raise the income limit. Currently, weatherization has some income limits that are standardized, and we'd like to be able to increase the income limit to be able to help more people with the money that is received from this project. We want to expand the services offered, include more building types, and enhance landlord outreach. Grand County is high in landlord and rental properties. It has always been the view of the weatherization program that helping the tenants comes before worrying about properties that are making an income. Those tenants are still suffering, and they need to be able to afford their utility bills, and so weatherization does whatever they can to improve upon that, and this will just expand those opportunities further. And then equitable success. We want to make more affordable housing, subsidize affordable housing, homes occupied by low-income households, buildings with community services and resilience hubs or disaster shelters. So along with that initial the initial goal of helping individuals, we would also like to keep it the ability to expand help to other organizations and be able to help more than just local community families. We want to be able to go beyond that at some point also. These are all through steps, and again, we're still processing the ideas and making this program a fully successful thing. So if you want to switch to the next.
And right now it is just in the city of Moab, and we're writing it into our prize application to expand that to our other counties.
Yeah. It's been a real high subject that we've wanted to do because the project itself also has a production goal that needs to be reached. Their production goals can exceed what is available in Moab to even do, and so we feel like it is important, especially CERTA always wants to be able to be equitable as much as possible, and we feel like that this program could help everybody in all 4 counties that we serve. So we're always going to fight for that, to be able to do that, because that will help us in turn to be able to gain the ability to meet those production goals. So as said earlier, our purpose to innovate, expand the work and progress of the weatherization program through additional and separate funding to provide newer, high-efficient heat pump equipment to low-income homes in Moab and beyond. Our strategy to partner with CERTA's existing weatherization team to identify potential homes that could use heat pump equipment, then provide funding and resources to manage the installation of new technologies to provide heat, cooling, and water heating. What are additional benefits? In addition to expanding the work done to a home by the weatherization team, CERTA's BUP team, BUP is Buildings Up, wants to be able to provide help to people with higher income limits than what is usual for qualification of weatherization assistance. We are proposing to increase the benefit to homes from 150% of poverty to 200% of poverty level. In addition, the BUP will provide funding for health and safety measures that weatherization would not be permitted to do at this level of income qualification, expanding the ability to keep occupants and workers safe. This is all to reach the goal of electrification and installation of heat pump equipment to reduce the cost of utilities. This also provides the benefit of adding a system that is not only heats a home, but also cools it. Moab and most of our region uses evaporative coolers that produce. Could you move that?
Sorry. Very harmful amounts of moisture.
There you go. Thank you. That produce high amounts of moisture. These conditions provide an environment of mold to grow. They are also ineffective during 90 plus degree days at cooling the home. Evaporative coolers can be high maintenance and cause serious damage to a home over time. Heat pump equipment helps clients to be able to have a low maintenance appliance that is safer and provides lower cost than when used correctly. What is a heat pump? So heat pump technology has been around for a while. You may not have been aware of some of those technologies, but over the years they have expanded and become way better and way more efficient. Despite the name, heat pumps do not generate heat. They move heat from one place to another. A furnace creates heat that is distributed throughout a home, but a heat pump absorbs heat energy from the outside air, even in cold temperatures, and transfers it to the indoor air. When in cooling mode, a heat pump and an air conditioner are functionally identical, absorbing heat from the indoor air and releasing it through the outdoor unit. And those air conditioning units we're talking about are like the window units that you see around, that you buy at Walmart and things like that. Um, there are several types of heat pump equipment. Two are very, very typical these days. There's a ducted air source, and then there's a ductless, which is a mini split. Those are the little small units that you usually see in a hotel room and things like that. There's also geothermal and absorption style heat pumps. These ones uses ground heat to typically it's to warm water. You've also seen the concept used a lot in when you get heated floors, radiant heat type things. They'll heat up the water, and the water stays in those pipes and will stay warm for a lot longer. So the technology has been around again, but with the innovation of computer technology, better cooling equipment, the products are just getting better and better and saving more money, and they're getting easier to install, and they're taking up less space also. Let me switch the okay. So many of you might be asking, how is the application process? The real answer right now is we're working on it. As stated earlier, this will be an addition as a separate program that will work by partnering with the current CERTA weatherization program. It is anticipated that the majority of clients will be weatherization clients that have been identified for help through a weatherization inspection. Additional qualifications, a heat certification, home must meet weatherization standards, and we wanted them to meet this heat certification, just to be clear, because that's just an additional benefit that's happening here. We want to cause a cascading event that where somebody comes in and gets help, and then they get help from several different programs all at once, so that we can maximize the grant offerings that we have at CERTA. So homes must meet weatherization standards, which means you own or have permission from a landlord. 200% of poverty level, as we discussed earlier. Weatherization program currently has a worksheet that we've been utilizing for a long time to calculate those things and make sure that people are qualified for it. We would just love to be able to see that 200% or below and be able to know immediately that we can do a lot more for those folks also. Must have a weatherization measures evaluated to receive help. Again, we just want to be able to include and help them to the maximum effort. So we want to be able to utilize that weatherization program along with these additional benefits. Currently, they must live in Moab, but the intent is to expand to all 4 counties after the pilot. The pilot is looking like it will be a little bit over a year. That is very dependent upon weatherization being able to find people that are available to run through the pilot program and be able to provide them the benefits of the whole entire program. Once we get the intended production goals there, it can be anywhere from 10 to 50 homes, then we would expand and grow with that to the other counties. We want to, and then they need to agree to providing further utility data for future evaluation up to a year after. So right now, as we're doing a pilot program, we really need data. We really need to know that what we're installing in homes is actually saving homes money. That we don't want to put anybody in a situation where they would be spending more money to heat or cool their home, and so we need that data to make sure that we're staying on track with that. So currently, the best answer I can give you on how to apply is to apply through the heat program, and then in turn also through the weatherization program as current. And on the board, we have our website that you can go to. You can download the application through that way. You can also call the CERTA building through various numbers, the one we've got on in the presentation, or you can just call the main CERTA building and somebody will get you to the weatherization office and get you started on that. We also have a fax, and then you can always email Wesley and he can get an application to you. And then, of course, thank you all for your support. Right now, we're asking for that recommendation letter in helps to that is part of the requirement of our development and applying for the second phase of this program to get that funding to continue to develop. We've been asking all of the counties that we serve to give us a letter so that we can and then be able to give you the opportunity to respond and find out what it is that we're working on and doing. So thank you very much for listening to us and giving us this opportunity.
Thank you.
Is there any questions?
I like your beard.
Well, I just have a question about
Okay.
the system.
Okay.
How expensive is to install one of those? Are you gonna be installing a new system in each home?
So typically they're about the same as installing a natural gas forced air furnace. Those units can cost, with labor, with the HVAC labor, they usually cost anywhere from $5,000 to $6,000. So yeah, installing this equipment isn't really that much more expensive. It's really, we're not anticipating that it's going to put much more load onto the weatherization crew to be able to identify these places. We'll be able to install them and be able to have just a higher efficient and a better system in the homes that, like I said, would be able to also cool homes, because that's important down here in this area. It gets hot in the summers, and so we want to be able to do that. And if just a regular forced air furnace isn't going to do that for you, so we'd like to really see. We're kind of in a war with the evaporative coolers right now, because they're inefficient and they cause some disastrous conditions in some homes. So
That's nice to know.
yeah.
One thing that I like is how you working together, because you can put a new system and you still have all the windows that are
Yeah.
not winterized.
Mhm.
So when you leave the home, there's gonna be.
Yeah, and that's
I
totally
like the partnership, the
Yeah.
idea of working together, and
Right.
I like that. That's what costs very much.
hmm
Maybe more homes,
right,
even if they don't qualify. Maybe we should start looking into doing something.
right.
And it's nice to collaborate both of them, because then we're not spending as much out of weatherization, so we can actually do more on the home through weatherization and do the buildings up part. So it makes it nice to work together.
Yeah,
for
it's,
sure.
it's just going to expand everything and make everything more efficient for them. So, we felt like it was a very innovative way to deal with some issues that happen in rural Utah, and we would love to continue with this and make it a successful program that benefits every county.
I have a couple of questions in
Okay.
regards to the heat pumps. So, in my mind, I'm gathering this is geared for summer, right?
And they can still heat. They do a heating. It is a heating system. The nice thing about the system is that they run off of electricity, and so if we can expand clear into the reservation areas, we would be able to. Many of those homes have electricity. They don't necessarily have the natural gas resources, and so we would be able to install systems in homes that before were just running off of wood burning stoves, and be able to install that into a home that has electricity.
So it actually,
So it would actually do both. The idea is that the one unit can cool and heat the home.
I see. Okay. I notice in your list for qualifications, I guess, or eligibility, there's a
Okay.
point on heat certification.
Hmm.
Could you explain more what heat certification means?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we grab that
Okay.
again? I don't work in the heat program. I know a slight amount. That's why I kind of brought these slides with us. Currently, my slide is a little outdated on the charts, and I apologize for that for the income levels. The heat program it's also ran through CERTA. This program is used to provide a benefit to homes that need help with their utility bills. And based upon income levels and things like that, there's a few different small qualifications that go on with this that they can provide funding to a home to be able to help them just pay outright for utility bills. And usually that's either natural gas or electric utility bills. But I do know that they do have a voucher for wood and coal also that they can provide. Our heat team at CERTA has made over the last couple of months, has made an effort to make sure that they are coming down to visit the San Juan area in the reservation areas down in Mexican Hat. Our weatherization building down there is now being utilized by that heat program so that they can be available in person for people to sign up for that program. The reason why we like to use the heat certificate as part of that qualification for the weatherization program is because they go into those income limits a little bit more, and so it simplifies the process for weatherization to qualify somebody, so that they don't have to go through the same worksheets and the same information and keep that same information in two different files. They just work in conjunction with the heat program to say, hey, if you've got that heat certification, you already qualify for weatherization. So, and it's as simple as that. All you need to do is come in, fill out the simple weatherization application, turn in a few, energy bills and things like that that's required just to help them analyze what's going on in the home. And then you get put on the waiting list, and then weatherization will give you a call when they're ready.
I see.
Does that answer your question?
So heat certification is basically you're qualifying for the heat program
Right.
under income limits.
Right.
Okay, gotcha. Just some feedback, I think, if you don't mind. First of all, I really appreciate the response to in regards to trying to come out to the reservation communities. I know there's been some efforts to be present physically. Mexican Water Chapter, I believe, was the most recent one that I heard of.
Yep.
I think my biggest plead is now more than ever is going to be the time when the heat program resource is going to become critical for a lot of the residents down on the reservation. There are 7 local chapters. Commissioner Stubbs has Navajo Mountain, Oljeto, Denahoto, and am I missing a chapter for you?
Hachi is part of that.
And then for me in my district, there's Anath, there's Red Mesa, there's Mexican Water, Tisnasbus. We have some folks that are in the Utah side. I know that when it comes to talking about heat in our community, everyone always talks about Nelson Yellowman, who's my uncle, who used to carry around a lot of his equipment where he would blow air into your house and check the pressure. And so a lot of folks have been saying, where did Nelson go and what happened to the weatherization program? So we still need you. Keep keep coming out to our communities
Oh, yeah.
to share the resource. The technology, the heat pump units, my only experience with them is in the motel room.
Mhm.
I'm sure that Commissioner Adams has one sitting right outside his window.
Mhm.
But I didn't know that that also helps with the heat exchange.
Yep.
And so that's new technology for us. I think the other request I was going to make was if you could come and visit the Utah Navajo Trust Fund office and be part of the Utah Dene Advisory Committee agenda.
Okay.
I think they would value the information in regards to the heat program and weatherization program and helping to push that information out into their respective communities. And that would be good. I don't know if there's any data that's published annually in regards to how much assistance was provided for each county, how many projects were completed for each county, those kinds of things. I think that would be helpful for us as commissioners.
Okay.
I'm maybe Commissioner Adams has that information, but a report annual information sharing would be great. That way we're able to kind of measure the impact of heat in our county and the projects that are live and moving forward.
Right.
Then finally, there's been mention about Department of Energy handing over federal funds for Native Americans. I think it's it's like a reimbursement for purchasing energy efficient things.
Mhm.
My best example is if a family decides to convert to solar energy,
Mhm.
not only would you have a government rebate, but you also have that
Additional benefit from
additional
DOE.
benefit.
Mhm.
And I think that's valuable because, this past summer, there's been power outages, and we were kind of caught in the middle of that because, the power grid went down because of the weather. We're grateful for the rain, but it also impacts the infrastructure. They're old out there.
Yeah.
And they said we'd be down for a day. A day became 4 days. And it really impacted a lot of families because they travel so far to get groceries.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then all of that's gone. And so anyhow, if there could be more talk about that for our county, that meaning energy investment for families. If a family were to invest in solar and converting to that and finding the sources so that families can get off that electrical grid and convert to be more in that
Mhm.
independent fashion.
Okay.
But thank you for this information.
Yeah.
I think as the commissioners, we want to support. We would love to see the pilot move from Grand County down into San Juan,
Yeah.
down past the San Juan Rios,
Mhm.
down into the tribal communities as well.
Absolutely.
But thank you for the information. Keep pushing that out in the southern part of the counties.
Yep.
And appreciate the presentation today.
I just have one more question.
Okay.
Commissioner Harvey alluded to the Blue Mountain Dene organization, and they do work with Westwater. And I have been involved with that. It's the project with the guy electricity now. They're gonna get water. They just been waiting for a part. They the need and it's in back order. Anyway, so they have about 29 homes there. I don't know, has you guys been involved with them at all?
I
think
haven't.
so.
I haven't heard of that. No.
If you give me a phone number, I'll give you the information of the people that are in charge of the project. And
Just give me yours.
they have been doing amazing things. They're trying to get a community going. So
That's
you
great.
can even a piece of paper, you can give me the number and I'll
Yeah.
give you the information. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Okay. All right, commissioners, there's the presentations, and on our agenda is consideration and approval for a letter of support for their Phase 2 project to improve.
Make a motion that we support the letter or sign the letter of support for this program.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Adams,
I'll second the motion.
second by Commissioner Stubbs. I think we don't have any other questions, right, commissioners? Is there any? Okay, let's go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor for the letter of support? Aye.
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 That's 3 in favor, unanimous support from our commission. Thank you again. We'll get that letter off to you before the end of the week, so thank you. Safe travels back. Yeah, great. Next item, Mac.
Okay, this one here is consideration and ratification of the Bears Ears proposed management plan protest letter. We have Nick Sandberg here to present this. I know this is a ratification. We had signed this yesterday because of the deadline to get it, but Nick can kind of give you the highlights of his letter back in response.
Well, basically, as you probably know, the Bears Ears proposed plan 30-day protest period ended yesterday at midnight. So because of that, we had to sign the letter yesterday in order to be able to submit it within that time frame, and this was done. And I believe all of you were able to review that letter over the weekend, and you concurred with it.
Yep.
So the action today is for you to ratify that letter.
Okay, Right.
Okay.
commissioners.
Don't have no
I'll make a
question.
motion, we ratify the letter.
Okay, Commissioner, I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Adams to approve ratification, second by Commissioner Stubbs. Any other comments or questions, commissioners?
I just want to thank you for all your work. You have been busy keeping us from shrinking in the land and other things, so we appreciate.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I thought that was a comprehensive review of all the grazing sections that were important to give feedback on.
Okay,
And,
thank you.
Very valuable, so thank you, Nick. All right, any other comments before we take a vote? All those in favor? Aye.
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 That's 3 in favor to support and approve ratifying this letter. Thank you. Thank you again, Nick.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
Nick.
so
Good.
much.
Appreciate it.
Moving on to our next
Okay,
item.
this next one is consideration and approval of the interlocal agreement between San Juan County and Utah State University Extension for e-cigarette, marijuana, and other drug prevention. This presentation here, got Zoe John here to give this presentation and enlighten you. This is her first time presenting to the commission, so she'll be super stellar awesome. But go ahead and take it away, kind of give us a summary of what you're asking of the commissioners to approve.
Yeah, so San Juan County, San Juan Public Health, we reached out to a few agencies to see if that they wanted to partner with us when it came to tobacco prevention and cessation among youth in San Juan County. And we received quite a few, and we received one from Utah State University Extension, the Create Better Health program. And right now we're just looking at ways to continue their efforts. Currently they're in schools in San Juan County, just educating students on how to stay away from tobacco, the type of support that they could get from friends and family, and also nutrition. So that's currently what they're doing right now. And we're very excited to see what they do in the next coming months. And there was one event where we had the opportunity to participate with them, and it was at the San Juan County Fair. That was a really fun event. They taught like nutrition, and they also had games out, like lawn games for families. And without thinking about it, I think that's a great idea of showing how family connectedness really helps with tobacco prevention in youth. And it was really nice to see the children communicating and laughing with their families. So I really enjoyed that USU Create Better Health put that on for the youth.
So this is a $15,000 contract that we pass these funds that are designated from the state to the county, and then we pass it along to USU to participate in this program. And just kind of a reflective note on here is, we had the results of the SHARP study that the school district had performed throughout the county, and we had awesome representation from those reservation schools as well. And I think Rebecca was instrumental in bridging that or breaking down that barrier that we've typically had in that SHARP survey data. But one of the things that SHARP survey pointed out is our youth as early as 6th grade are starting to indicate that they have participated in, I don't know if participated is the word, but have taken or used e-vapes or cigarettes here in the county. And so that was pretty shocking, where 6th graders now are faced with that and actually partaking of that. And so all of these efforts kind of go hand in hand to help prevent that, bring more awareness to the kids, especially with the e-cigarettes and the harm that those cause. But where that SHARP survey had highlighted that, I appreciate this opportunity that our public health department and Zoe has that effort to get it out there, to partner with these partners in our communities to better educate and inform our youth, because we're seeing it at a surprisingly earlier age than typical with cigarettes. And so
and in the application that we gave them, we used the SHARP survey to identify any risk factors or protective factors that they wanted to tackle. And that was one of the risk factors that they wanted to tackle was tobacco use among the youth and how media is portraying tobacco. And one of the protective factors that they wanted to do was discussing and educating and disseminating that information to youth and parents.
Very good.
This is really nice. Thank you. How did you distribute this?
Yeah, so we actually got in contact with San Juan Record, and they're going to put it into the newspaper.
Because I see other things coming somewhere record, and I just like that because, sometimes parents don't have time to probably read the newspaper. When you open the newspaper, this falls down, and there's wow, and so anything that we can do to promote extra activities with the family, any things that kind of make it more of a, because sometimes children or kids get into things because they're looking for new things. But if you can, promote other things to distract them and get them in the right direction, and appreciate all your work.
Yeah, thank you.
And you did well.
Yeah, so these applications that were given out to our to people who are interested goes along with SB 37, which is one of the tobacco grants that we work with the state of Utah, and that's how we were able to reach out to the agencies.
Real briefly, Good afternoon. I think it's afternoon, commissioners.
Welcomed you back.
Commissioner Stubbs and Commissioner Harvey. Commissioner Adams, we know you're traveling. And then Mitch Mon and the Administrator Mac McDonald. Good afternoon. Just briefly to tell you how these funds, this is a state legislated funds. It's Senate Bill 37. And so it's what they call a pass-through fund. We get $81,656. And so we take it out to an RFP to request for proposals. And so we're trying to get this monies to go countywide. So as you can see, there's 4 different entities, one from UNHS, and then ARL, Albert R. Lyman Junior High, USU Extension, and Hojongo INA 365. And so we don't keep any of the funds. It's all passed through to the different entities, and that's to prevent vaping, electronic cigarettes, any kind of substance abuse disorders, tobacco, chewing tobacco. As was indicated by our administrator, we did do a survey in the spring, and our kids are not smoking as far as junior high, high school, but there is a pocket of students in the 5th and 6th grade level that are wanting to explore with vape. And so we're right on it. But our survey did indicate that, as also indicated on the SHARP survey, that there's a decline in smoking in general and in fact, in that whole 100 and I believe it was 68 surveys that we received back, there was only 3 people that said that smoked. So we're doing prevention and hope to sustain people from not wanting to smoke. We do have a tobacco cessation program as well that's attached to our other tobacco grants. So as reported by our health educator, Zoe John, she does a good job in working on the tobacco grants and getting this throughout the county. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very good. I think working with families and getting families engaged and involved,
Did you see
that's
your
an
picture?
awesome strategy. So, all right, commissioners, how do we?
Commissioner
vote on
Harvey?
this?
I would like to move that we approve the interlocal agreement between San Juan County and Utah State Extension for e-cigarettes and other types of tobacco.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Adams,
I'll second it.
second by Commissioner Stubbs. All right, let's go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It's 3 in favor, unanimous approval. Great job, guys.
Commissioner Harvey, I'd like to especially thank Rebecca and Zoe for the hard work they've done on this program and compliment them for what they're doing.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Adams. Okay, next
Thank you for
item.
coming, and
Okay, this next one, let me
I
skip to
just
this one.
wanted to tell you, Commissioner Benali, that every place I go, people remember so well of you, and they always say how much they enjoy having worked with you. So you left big footprints I had to follow, So thank you for what you did before and what you're doing now. Thank you so much. And you too. You did well.
Okay, we're not letting them out yet.
Oh,
So
okay.
this next one, consideration and approval of an outreach education agreement between the University of Utah on behalf of its Utah Poison Control Center in San Juan County. This one here is presented by Rebecca. So welcome back to the podium, Rebecca. Good job, Zoe, on your presentation.
Again, it's good to stand before you and talk about some of the grants that we have with San Juan County Public Health. Poison prevention or poison control is through University of Utah, and we get about $3,000 to $5,000. It depends how many organizations that we work with, and so most likely we work with the schools, senior centers, health fairs, and we go throughout the county to do that. This grant has been one that helps us connect with our elders on just understanding the prescription medication, to educate them on which medication may not be mixed, or to find a strategic way of not taking too much of whatever. And so it's basically poison prevention. There's even components of when you have a babysitter, there's a pamphlet for them of it could be like detergent or things like that, what for them to look at. So basically it's education to prevent poison in homes and then out in the community, snake bites, things like that. So we've been able to implement some of these components of the grant throughout the different organizations in our county. And so that's how we implement this poison prevention control. So you probably see San Juan County Public Health coming before you for a lot of these grants. For health promotion, which Zoe and I do, Zoe's the health educator and I'm the health promotion director. Zoe and I oversee 18 different grants, and most of them are from CDC through the state of Utah. They become block grants, but for this, in this case, we work with University of Utah, and so we work with different organizations with different grants. And so Zoe joined us in January, and she's been doing a good job ever since. So that's what the poison prevention and control grant is. It's not a lot of money, but it's effective.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, commissioners, how'd you like to move?
I'll make a motion that we support. I can't find the page anyway.
Motion
that
by
we support
Commissioner Stubbs.
the presentation in the request, whatever.
Okay, we got a motion
I'll
to
second the motion to approve the outreach education agreement between the
second.
University of Utah and on behalf of the Utah Poison Control Center.
Okay, seconded by Commissioner Adams. Any other comments or questions before we vote?
Thank you. It's something that seems so simple, but it's so easy to. Sometimes some of the detergent things like that, it looks like other things, you know, and so it's nice to be educated
Yep,
with basic little things. So
the
thank
budget breakout is really helpful. That's a lot of areas you guys are focusing on. So awesome.
Yes, you're welcome. We
All right.
tried to do a good job, and what we gave you is also our San Juan County Public Health Promotion Program newsletter. So we produce, or Zoe works on those every quarter, and hopefully once we get used to it, we'll do it monthly. And we're wanting to start putting them as inserts in the San Juan Record, so that I understand they have an outreach of 2,000. So hopefully we can reach 2,000 people.
you. That's good.
All right, commissioners, let's go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 It's 3 in favor. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks for the work. Moving on to our next item, item 11.
Okay, so this next item on your agenda is the consideration and approval of an amendment number 1 to the standard service provider contract for Monticello cancer screening, marketing, and advertising services between San Juan County and BWP Communications. This one here we have Rosa presenting. Awesome. Welcome,
Hello.
Rosa.
Hi. So on April 2nd, 2024, the San Juan County Commissioners approved the standard contract agreement with BWP Communications Inc. for the Monticello cancer screening, marketing, and advertising solicitation services. As we began our marketing efforts outside of the San Juan County, in their original contract, they anticipated direct services for $48,000 for the first year. We would like an additional $48,000 as we continue to work with public health for this upcoming marketing services terminating on March 31st, 2026. And we consider, for the history, you have done a consideration approval. We recommend approval for this upcoming contract coming up. So an additional $48,000 for a total of $96,000 for direct services to be provided to benefit the Monticello cancer screening marketing and advertising.
I just have a question. So this goes all over Utah, you advertising?
Yeah, so our main goal is to do it outside of Utah as well, which we've been getting responses from Arizona and other, so people who have moved out, those are the people that we're trying to reach because of the mill back in the day that was here. And so far we've been getting some responses. So far, July and August, we got over 50 applications, mostly females.
This has been a good program, and as a reminder, these funds were a congressional appropriation through the federal government that Congressman Curtis helped us obtain over $1 million so far in funding from the federal government to support this program. Part of that effort was to market, not only here in Monticello, but also to push the marketing for those residents that have lived here, were impacted by the mill operations, and have moved out, which also includes these bordering states here. It's common here in San Juan County that workers commute for these good jobs, which they did back then, but they also leave Monticello and move into these neighboring states. BWP has been awesome to work with, but they've used all of the funds from the initial contract, and so would like to continue those services. In the request for proposal, we had indicated that there's a lot of grant funding that's available to allocated towards marketing. We'd like to continue to use those marketing dollars, and the RFP anticipated extending this marketing effort for a couple more years. So we've also put that contract out for 2026. Here in 2025, their proposal that BWP has given us will pretty much eat up that $48,000. And these are the soft costs for the marketing. We pay for the whole hard costs. So if you remember back on some of the ads where Grant and his staff have went up and did, whatever it was, One Utah and a couple of these television ads to broadcast it out further to hit that more of a national market media. We pay for those directly out of the grant, but yet BWP is the one that goes through and sets up the programs, sets up the system, gives us the contacts, and then we pay for those out of the grant kind of at a separate. But this is literally for the soft costs that BWP incurs, their staff time, developing the marketing material that we've been using. You've seen some of the banners at the rodeo, at the fair. As we've advertised, the BWP was behind the creation of that contact, along with the work that Rosa and Bridget in Public Health Department have worked this. And so it's been awesome. That's why Rosa presenting the contract today, she kind of helps oversee that.
Well, especially, you have lots of people out of town that comes to parades here in town, so that was a good.
Yes, we had the majority come in for the 4th of July here in Monticello. That's how most of them were able to get the word.
So it's been a concerted effort. I think countywide we've been advertising this, but this BWP is the one that is kind of the genius behind the marketing campaign.
Mac?
Hey.
I think it's important to understand that even though this says the Monticello Cancer Screening Marketing and Advertising, we're talking about every citizen in San Juan County that was either exposed or has been exposed in some way or form to the downwinders or the mining exposure, the trucking exposure, any kind of exposure to cancer-causing materials.
Absolutely, especially for the meal. This is kind of focused on the meal itself, if you worked or were impacted by. And then what we're working towards right now, Grant and I have a meeting with the downwinders side of it, because that's a different federal fund. The RECA Act is what the downwinder funds come from. So we're trying to tie both these together. And just to remember, as today's election, hopefully we'll see Congressman Curtis become Senator Curtis. We need to continue to ask for federal funds. This was a a government mill site, government program, and the government should still continue to fund this. We're hoping to migrate this, not for the screening side of it, but also those that have medical bills, medical costs. That's what the people are coming forward as they get screened and then they find cancer. It's like, well, okay, now what? Where are the resources available that can now help with my medical costs? And that's kind of the next phase we're hoping to get with Congressman Curtis, soon to be Senator Curtis.
Or maybe Senator, yeah.
Yep. And so we'll hopefully be able to tie all these together, because people, both, the RECA Act from the downwinders part of it and this mail site, both of them correlate one with another.
Jamie, I'll make a motion to approve amendment number 1 to the standard services provider contract for the Monticello Cancer Screening and Marketing and Advertising Services.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Adams.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Stubbs. Any other comments or questions?
I just want to thank Rosa and the team, all the people that are working to make this awareness to the public. And thank you, Rosa, and you can thank down the line the other people from us.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Let's take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's 3 in favor, unanimous approval. All right, moving on with our agenda. Item number 12.
Okay, this one's consideration and approval of a resolution governing the authority delegated to the Chief Executive Officer by the Utah County's Indemnity Pool Board of Directors. Essentially what this is that as we all participate in Utah, USIP is the acronym for Utah County Indemnity Pool, which all of the counties belong to. They're our insurance agency for counties. In essence, what USIP is asking is there needs to be a delegation of certain duties and responsibilities to the USIP Chief Executive Officer, which is Johnny Miller. Johnny Miller does a lot for us. He's kind of he's our call. And I think on each of our cell phones, we have his direct cell phone and speak to him often. But all of this resolution is approving that delegation of authority by the USIP board. So it's encouraging the USIP board to delegate that authority to Johnny Miller on certain items.
There's more to it, John.
Okay, continue forward. I was just filling in some blanks.
Okay, it authorizes the Board of Directors of Utah County Indemnity Pool adopt the authority delegated to the Chief Executive Officer policy as a specific function delegated. It also resolves that the President of the Utah County Indemnity Pool shall be authorized to execute this resolution by all necessary and proper means. I don't want to make the motion on this because I'm the president.
We have a lawyer that can explain to us what we're going to do. I just want to say that every time we have something that's kind of hard, we say, let's call Johnny. And he has been really, really good to help us and direct us in a good direction. And it's good to be in groups, in a group when we are a small county, because we can afford things by ourselves. So I make a motion that we approve.
Motion by Commissioner Stubbs.
I'll second it.
All right. Commissioner Adams seconds the motion. And just a comment on this. All the members, the USIP members, they're doing the same, aren't they?
Yes.
Yep. So it's just basically a process for the group.
Commissioner Adam, would you stay for the next 20 years here? And
That's the
I
president.
don't think that is going to happen.
Oh, I mean, you can just be in the video and we can call it. Thank you.
All right, got a motion and a second to approve the resolution for USET. All those in favor? Aye.
I,
That's 3 in favor, unanimous approval. Okay, moving on to our next item, item number 13.
Okay, item number 13 is consideration and approval of the corridor preservation agreement along US 191 between the Utah Department of Transportation and San Juan County. We're trying to get ahead of the game on this preservation corridor. Let me flip screens here. Okay, Commissioner Adams, do you see that map? You should be looking at a map now online. So out of several years ago, we had partnered with UDOT and were part of a process with Moab and Grand County to kind of lay out the existing conditions, road conditions along Highway 191 coming up through Spanish Valley area, and participating in that as a full-on public process where we went through and kind of designed this corridor that comes all the way up through San Juan County, along with Grand County and Moab City. At the time, there was more of an emphasis on the Moab City portion, and in that study, it kind of detailed specific stop signs, stop lights that they wanted to place outside of Moab that intersect some of these county roads in Grand County. But then we included the discussions for Spanish Valley area. In Spanish Valley area, it's anticipated that we would have a frontage road system in theory, and we would like to get there at some point. So UDOT's worked with us. They were the one that had helped fund this study, and notice that we really need to start working on a corridor preservation area. And so what that does is, as developments come forward here in Spanish Valley, that we're able to say, hey, we want to preserve this specific corridor for this frontage road system. And that as developers come to us with their properties and want to develop it, that we can help them recognize that we want to have this frontage road system put in place separate from 191 to where hopefully they will incorporate it into their designs, and that we can anticipate in the future that there will be this frontage road system on both sides of the road, 191, so that the people that live there, our citizens in Spanish Valley, they won't have to utilize 191 as much. So right now, some of the conflicts that we see along 191 in Spanish Valley is in several areas that mail is delivered across Highway 191. And so citizens have to drive literally across that highway, and it's about 55 miles an hour right there, and it ramps up to 65 miles an hour in that area. And they're trying to get across 191 just to get the mail. So there has been collisions, there have been crashes and deaths that are along this that we need to work towards a mitigation. And this frontage system is the way that we can mitigate that by creating kind of this separate road system that is a 35 mile an hour frontage system full of, where one of the things that we anticipated during this study is having the bike paths, the trails, all incorporated in this frontage system to help mitigate the need to cross Highway 191. So on here in this study, they've highlighted specific intersections. And really, this is a tool to help us plan our zoning in this area, and it kind of gives the developers that foresight that we want to have a frontage road system in this area. So this corridor, although it hasn't solely been defined yet, we will work with UDOT. UDOT has a grant that's coming up that they want us to apply for road systems. So it'd be a transportation study where we can define better these intersections and where we want this frontage system to be laid out in. So you kind of see what you're looking at right now is the high level map of Spanish Valley. You kind of see right now this corridor preservation goes all the way up to the mountains here. So right as you're coming down Peters Hill is what it's called, Commissioner Adams. So as you're dropping down
Blue Hill.
Blue Hill. So as you're dropping down Blue Hill, you start to see off of the left, there's not anything really being developed in there, but we want the frontage system. So anticipating future growth, we want that frontage system to go all throughout right as you drop down the hill. And it's kind of, if you're coming into Monticello, it's right where the lanes split and you start to have this passing lane. As those trucks and everything are coming down off of the mountain, there's a turn, and a lot of people take this turn. The recreation turn is what I call it. You typically see campers and the ATV trailers parked off of the side on this dirt road. There have been accidents where people are either turning and you get these trucks that are coming down the hill, pretty hard to stop, and so there's an impact there. And so they'd like to take this corridor all the way out to the bottom of that hill to try to help mitigate some of that
Matt,
conflict.
that turn it goes to Mud Springs.
Okay, the Mud Springs
It's
turn.
a pretty well-used recreation area.
Yes, thank you for that. So if you remember back to the Mud Springs bike trail that we were working with, and Grant County is working with us on the installation with BLM property, that mountain bike trail is right in this area. And so it's kind of goes hand in hand with everything that we're doing in Spanish Valley, that implementation of this frontage system. We just got to have the corridor preservation in place so that we can, in our zoning efforts, our planning efforts, can start to tell developers, hey, we want a frontage system here. And the commissioners have hopefully today approved of that corridor preservation, that we can preserve that. It's not to say that it's coming tomorrow, but it puts it on the radar for everybody, puts it on the radar for staff, that we have a document that says, okay, this is where we want this frontage system to go. Be prepared for it in your development so that you can work with your parking, the way you lay out your parking, to include this frontage road, future frontage road system. So it's trying to jump ahead of the horses and the carts that are coming in with development in this area.
So if I understand it correctly, this is kind of a backbone to help improve with some engineering work.
Absolutely. Yep.
And
And it'll take part of the study. Let me see if they've got it, that I can quickly go to it. You have the highway that exists right now. So if you think of traveling 191, it's a pretty good stretch of road. They will preserve 191 as what it is now, with the turn lanes and things like that come off of it. But then outside of that, you'll have this frontage road system. The frontage road on the east side, that's where you're seeing the development come and creeping right up to Highway 191. And that's really where we want that frontage road system to exist, outside of the highway. On the west side of the highway, you will notice as you're driving that they have the natural gas lines, the oil lines, the power lines that are all buried there. So we've got to work and identify on the west side where can we place this frontage road system? Can we overlay the frontage road on those easements for the utility easements that are there? So there's still some work that needs to be done, but this is kind of the general concept that you're looking at, where you've got 191, you've got these buffer areas, you've got the trail system, and then you've got the frontage road systems there. So this is the concept. Now we've got to get into, okay, where are we going to place this? On the west side, it's a lot easier. I think on the west side, there's fewer private properties on there, a lot of Sitla owned lands. And so and Sitla was a participant in this initial study. It's marking on the Sitla lands also where this frontage road system can go. how it interacts with the future development of the SITLA. And then it's really putting this before the private property owners so that they know that our intentions are really to have this frontage road. If we can place it now and have this corridor preserved, then, and we notify and work with developers to incorporate this thought already, then it is less expensive when UDOT has to come and purchase the private property, or do the worst case scenario would be eminent domain. You typically don't see that with UDOT, but they have explored that option with private properties before. But it's really trying to get ahead of the development on the private property that's coming, that we can incorporate this in the designs, knowing that there will be a frontage road system that's proposed on their property, and how do you get that public resource incorporated in designs up front. It's more expensive to come at it at the end, where developers have already installed the 3-level condominium, Airbnb building. It's harder for UDOT to come in and purchase those and move them out of the way. It's easier if we can get this corridor preservation up front, to try to mitigate some of those future costs to get the frontage road system installed. So it's trying to get ahead of all of this.
Okay, Jamie, I'll make a motion to approve the corridor preservation agreement along 191 between UDOT and San Juan County.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Adams.
I'll second the motion.
Seconded by Commissioner Stubbs.
I have a
Go ahead, Commissioner Stubbs.
I have a comment. This goes with a vision that we have of the north part of the county, and that's a good thing. And the other thing is that we are working with Grand County and Moab.
Mm-hmm.
And I think anytime that we can find opportunities to be in the same side is wonderful. And I think this is just, kind of it's good to prepare for the growth. It may not happen. So, I have been in San Juan County many, many years, and people tell me they can go any county and they see change, but we have still pretty much the same. So I eventually will have that growth, and it'd be nice to be prepared for it. So
Future planning.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's 3 in favor, unanimous approval. That finishes up our business action items, and now our final item is under the Board of Equalization, so we need to move.
I'll make a motion, we go into Board of Equalization.
Motion by Commissioner Adams to move into the Board of
second it.
Equalization. Second by Commissioner Stubbs. Let's go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor to go into Board of Equalization? Aye.
Aye.
It's 3 in favor, unanimous. We are now in Board of Equalization. Item 14, Mac.
All right, we've got Rick here that will present the changes that he's proposing.
All right, Commissioners, I was hoping we'd be finished with Board of Equalizations, but then people got their tax notices and paid a little more attention to what was happening on their properties. So most of these are just corrections. So the first one, Utah Navajo Trust Fund, this is a 3.5 acre parcel out in Westwater that attaches to the well they drilled out there some years ago, and should be exempt because it's owned by Utah Navajo Trust Fund. Okay, and then number 2 is a garage on a property that does not exist. That's an easy one. And a bunch of these, number 3 is no home on the parcel. So I don't know how it happens again, but sometimes you get 2 homes on a parcel there's only 1 home. And it's an error on our part, on our computer system. So we need to just correct those. And so most of these are people that divided their property, and their cabins or their land or their house or their sheds got put on the wrong parcel. So it's just a correction. Make the land vacant or put it all on greenbelt, put the sheds on the right parcel or the cabin on the right parcel. And then number 9, I like number 9. This guy had a great one. Never dealt with this one before, but out on Summit Point, they have some property where they have a cemetery, and he came in and said, I want 1 acre devoted to the cemetery. And we asked him who was buried. It was his father and some relatives buried in the cemetery. He said, you bet, as long as it's a legitimate cemetery. So that was an interesting one. So these are all just great corrections for people. And then number 16, we're doing our reevaluation of Spanish Valley this year and into next May. And we found some escaped homes that have never been on the tax roll. Number 17, that value is going to go from 380 some odd thousand to 900,000 based upon what we have found. And that home has been on the property since 2015. So once we get everything right, everybody's tax rates should go down. Hopefully the tax rates will go down.
That's good. Well, thank you for all your work.
More work, yes.
For you and your partners, you guys working hard at this, and so we appreciate that. So
Yeah, thank you.
so much. And I guess election day for you today, so are you nervous?
I won by 1 vote. I voted by myself, for myself, which is good. It's a little stressful going through elections, as we all know here. So
Every time
it's
I
stressful.
I shiver and think, remember. But
Yes.
I appreciate all the work, and I had a daughter that was running for school president office, and I said, she went to vote, and I said, did you vote for yourself? She said, oh no, you can't do that.
So whatever.
Yeah, I can vote for myself.
Yeah, you have to vote for yourself at least. At least get 1 vote. Okay, commissioners, we got the sheet for the corrections.
I went and I looked at last night at all that. So I guess we got to
Make a motion.
make a motion to
Or
approve
deny.
the corrections and the tax, what it's called, the tax,
So motion by Commissioner Stubbs,
Second.
second by Commissioner Adams. All right, any other comments or questions? Hearing none, let's go ahead and vote. All those in favor to approve the recommendations?
say aye.
Aye.
That's 3 in favor. Unanimous approval.
I'll
Awesome
make a
job,
motion,
Rick.
we come out of Board of Equalization.
Motion by Commissioner Adams to exit Board of Equalization.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Stubbs. All those in favor to exit Board of Equalization mode? Aye.
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 It's 3 in favor. We are off of Board
Jamie?
of Equalization.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank
sir.
I'll make a motion, we go into executive session to discuss legal matters.
Okay, motion by
Thank you.
Commissioner Adams to move into executive session.
Second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Stubbs for executive session. All those in favor to move into executive session, say aye.
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 It's 3 in favor. All right.
Okay, hold on. Let us get the systems.
Please leave me on, Mac.
Okay, trying to figure out how to do that. Let me
Thank you for coming.
close this one and I'll send you another invite
Okay.
and it's separate. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna end this one here. Watch your email real fast and
Okay.
I'll send you an invite.
Thank you for coming down. Appreciate the info.
Thank you for coming so much.
Yeah, I was going
I like
over
the
as
idea.
well.
I'm gonna look about doing in our house, the pump. Yeah, should we start promoting it?
So in my
Thank you.
presentation, I mentioned
Drive
that
safe.
we have these open houses.
And go in boat.
And so
Oh,
we
already did that.
Oh, you already did that, okay. You did that too, okay.
to have kind of this public open house to explain exactly what we're doing. We're also working with the staff up there. They wanted to become certified. So right now, all they are